There we go. Now we're recording. Apply. Population grew quite a bit. Oh, I didn't have all these people. I don't know how I don't have like food or anything.
So the bottom menu there, where you see the blue bars growing,
Yeah,
that's where you click to gather food and or resources.
like here.
Yes, that menu.
And then where do I gather?
So this is one of the really weird things about this game is so you have to go down to the bottom options and set your options there. And then once you have them set there, then you can set them at the top and actually have them gather resources.
What do you mean by bottom?
So you see how those little squares are lined up in the big menu, right where the graphic is for the mine?
Oh, yeah. Click to set.
The bottom ones.
Oh, click
Those
to
are,
set artifacts.
yes,
I have to press those.
yes. So this menu is where you can choose your options for gathering resources. And you can also, once you figure out how to gather artifacts, this is where you can set those to.
Yeah, I just figured that this is where artifacts that you collected from like the stars and whatnot go. Let's see what I'm trying to build in the first place, because I know I had a plan, but I hop between so many games that I have trouble remembering where I even left off. And considering this isn't really my style of game typically. Okay. Oh yeah, I need basic materials, basic materials. I don't know if two mines was the right thing to do, but it seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, I think generally you just want to have one of each thing to start, but it could be useful to have like mines and farms uh multiplied to start with too.
So
But I think
basic materials is the combination of like limestone and clay and planks.
so basic materials is a combination. So highlight basic materials again.
Yeah,
So you can
clay, limestone, and planks. So concrete and planks.
so do you see how concrete and planks are blue, but the clay and limestone are green?
Yeah,
So in order to make basic materials, you need concrete and planks. In order to make planks, or pardon me, in order to make concrete, you need lime and clay. Planks come from your farm.
got
Lime
it.
and clay come from the mine.
That makes sense. So for the time being, I could just to kind of speed this up. Oh yeah, down. This is not the most intuitive interface. Or maybe I'm just not used to playing as strategy games. I've never been terribly. I get this. Oh, this is kind of like a simulation slash strategy slash city builder style game.
Yeah, it feels kind of like, like they're trying to do kind of like a Warcraft type thing, maybe. I'm not sure. Are you trying to make a workshop, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so the thing about concrete is until you have a workshop, you have to make people gather it by hand.
yeah, I know that. I have the concrete for the workshop. I actually have a workshop, And Forge Works, which has the concrete already. I gathered that, but it's missing the basic materials. What did it say? Limestone and clay.
Oh yeah, so you need to get more concrete and planks for basic materials. But I don't think you can manufacture your own concrete until you actually have a workshop, if I'm not mistaken.
I do have a workshop.
Oh wait, oh yeah, okay, never mind.
Okay, clay. There we go. And we'll hold off on spending my congregation points until I have a better idea of what I'm doing. So I go to workshop, and then at the workshop, I can make concrete, right?
Yeah, for now you should probably just what I would do is set one of the production loops as concrete and one as basic materials, since you need both.
Oh yeah, which
Or
is
wait, since you have two mines, you might want to just produce double concrete loop at first, just to speed it up.
there we
Because you can
go.
produce concrete and planks at the same time. So you're not actually. So do you see how up top where it says production loop?
Yeah.
That's where you have to set it to actually make it start producing.
Oh, but on the mine, I don't have to do anything.
It's the same for every single type of production. You have to have both of those levels set.
Got it. So I need to go. Oh yeah, I need to go down here. Hey, come on. Clay, limestone.
So now that you've tried to set that up, you can click on your stockpile and you can watch. It'll tell you like where you're producing and consuming things with green highlights.
Oh, I just figured planet stockpile meant what was on the planet as a whole from what I knew about the planet.
So those
Oh,
stats are
basic.
actually
Hmm?
the stats that you just explained. The base stats for the whole planet are just displayed out in the main menu. And I think the planet ones are just basically like gas, minerals, and life.
At least I'm in a neutral region. I'm assuming that's good.
Yeah, I think it basically just means that other people can attack you with their planet spaceships or something.
Okay, so farm. Farm should probably be like producing like planks and
I think,
food.
yeah, planks and food. Like I would probably set up planks and then alternate back and forth with fruits and vegetables. Food seems to also decay while you are offline,
But
so it doesn't.
unlock fruit production. Vegetable. What about vegetables and like fish or something? Or is that a bad idea? Seems like
You can
fish
only
you
do
would need.
two at a.
Oh
Fish
yeah.
is Yeah, fish is a good idea. I think for meat you have to produce animals first.
It seems like with fish you'd have to produce something, but I might just be overthinking. Like if they would just make this interface better, this could be like a decent casual game that also has enough substance to it to be have appeal for like a more hardcore player, but these menus suck.
Yeah,
Or
honestly, you could probably make this a mobile game if you streamlined it. Have you gone to look for treasure yet?
No, but I think I did when I started playing a long time ago.
Yeah, it can really help with your production. You can find artifacts that you can plug into your slots that boost production and stuff. So yeah, usually I like to set a farming cycle for resources and then go look around the star system for artifacts and treasures.
Oh, storage, basic materials.
I don't know how the storage works because I'm pretty sure um
Oh, I see what it's doing. It's building storage before Forge works. Which actually, yeah, that does make sense.
I think maybe you just started it before it.
No, I didn't. I went in the clockwise.
Oh, really? Because
Yep.
I don't even really know what the storage does.
And I assumed it'd be you could like store food there. I
I
don't
don't
really.
think you can. I
I play
asked
these
some.
games like blind, which is probably the wrong approach for a strategy game.
Yeah, because I built a storage too, and I think there's a couple of things that you can build early on that just don't do anything. Because I asked last night too. I was like, if you have, I asked online when there was 10 people, if you have a storage, does food persist when you're not logged in? And they said no. So I have no clue what the fucking storage does. It's really weird. That's another thing that's kind of annoying about this game.
Yeah, if this actually this kind of reminds me. I don't know if you watch my channel. There's a game called A Tractor, which is based on a game called The Universalist. This is a completely different interface, but the gameplay loop's pretty similar. Where you start with like nothing in a region, and then you have to like gather resources to build up base industries, to build up the next set of industries, to build up the next set of industries. Except with that game, you actually get to drive a tractor around and fly like aircraft, and eventually, if everybody works together and can develop all the industries together, and you like trade in between different industries, eventually you can get to the point where you actually have like aeronautical engineering and everything. You actually get space travel. But then like other players can actually construct their own planets with the scripting language, and you actually travel to those. That game doesn't isn't online anymore, unfortunately. It's the first game I did a review for the channel, and the next day it was offline yet again, and the developers kind of disappeared.
I think I remember watching you play a tractor a little bit back in a while back.
Yeah, the what's Inistria, it's always playing RPG MO. That's where I met that person because I logged on to Tractor just figuring, all right, this is gonna be some joke game. I found it on like Nat Risk games list. I'm like, this is gonna be like Sim Farm pay to win garbage game because I noticed there's a cash shop too. And then somebody's actually on the game and like started explaining it to me. I was like, wow, there's actually two other people playing this game.
Yeah,
But
there seems to be more games sort of like this that are coming out. Like, have you heard of Factorio?
yeah,
Yeah, like sort of industry building type games. Uh, I wonder if there's a way to like I haven't tried it yet, but I wonder if there's a way to like build another planet and start farming specific resources there, or maybe just another city, I think, and then you can split up your resource farming. I don't know
You
if it.
could from an alt account, but I don't know what the rule is on alts for this game.
No, I think you can just build another city or build another planet and then just share the resources between them. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it yet. But yeah, you should probably go try to look for artifacts because it will help boost your production.
Warp to your okay. How do I leave the planet?
You just hit S and move backwards away from it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And then you kind of can look around and there's little indicators of like where there might be treasure in
I
your
know what
star
happened the first.
system.
I know what happened the first time I played this game. I flew around the solar system expecting to find like maybe a space battle or something because I didn't read what the game was about either. I seriously just download. If it says MMO, I queue like all those games to download from Steam. And sometimes like when I was getting caught up, it was seriously like 200-300 games at a time. I was like, "Oh, space, PvP, oh, space combat." Yeah, and isn't I know there's a PvP element to this, but I'm assuming it's not space combat in the traditional sense. Or who knows, maybe there is.
It seems like it's more like StarCraft type stuff, or maybe like more that you can control it more
Yeah.
than just StarCraft. I'm not sure.
You know,
Did you
StarCraft's
have?
actually a game I don't have a video for yet. I don't have a video for StarCraft. I don't have one for League of Legends. I don't have one for Dota 2. I'm really bad about like ever. I have one for Fortnite, but it's just showing like with the graphics card I had, like how many issues I had, and then I was like, this game kind of sucks anyway. Oh yeah, I can go like back to. Oh yeah, so I don't have to worry about like getting lost. But yeah, I have a. It's called USA Battle. It's a private server for StarCraft, and they also have a Warcraft 2 private server, Warcraft 3 private server, Command and Conquer Red Alert 2 private server, Diablo 3 private server. So kind of like the whole collection of like Blizzard games, as well as a few others. I actually played Diablo 2 on there with Megan for a while until I realized that it kind of sucked. Did you ever play any of the Diablo games, either when they came out or after, really?
I played Diablo 2 quite a bit, and I played Diablo 3 for a small amount of time.
Yeah, Diablo 2 is one of my favorite action RPGs because it has the right mix of like exploration and challenge and build and balance. It
Yeah, I thought it was
eh,
quite fun.
Diablo 1 I never actually played until after Diablo 2, so it's a bit clunky and I never really gave it a fair shot. But
Oh,
Diablo
I think there's
3,
wait there. I think there's a treasure. Stop and look up to your right.
oh
Other further. So, do you see those little what are those hexagons or
yeah, are those treasures?
do you see how they're outlined like by a little like a polygon?
Yeah.
So you basically just zoom up to those and then click on them and they explode into artifacts and
Like
resources.
right here.
Yeah, that's it.
So what am I supposed to do? I click on it and what?
Zoom in closer. You just click them to pick them up. So this is where you get artifacts, and those other resource shard things that you pick up, you can use them to craft. You can use those like crystal resources to craft bonuses on and off of the artifacts.
So there might actually be a legitimately good game here. I've had this on my list of games to eventually get around to because I had a feeling that there was a good game here that I just didn't have time to actually learn. I might actually spend a bit more time in this one. It it
Yes.
can't it can't survive with a player base of 4, that's for sure. Unless this is just a passion project, and at that point, it seems like they want to make like something off of it. I don't know if this is who is there a screen that says who's developing this? So I need to start looking at that too because it's one if it's somebody's passion project that has a population of 4 versus like a business with multiple employees with 3 games and one of their games has a population of 4, that's a quite a big difference as far as potential longevity. Did I accidentally find my planet again? Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to sort of explore for treasures and artifacts. So now that you have some, you can. So I would start by you see that in the bottom left corner where it says under your planet's
Oh
name.
yeah.
So you can get that bonus there.
So I picked up. Oh wait, the rest is just like crafting resources.
Well, you can also, so if go back into your mine and your farm menus.
Oh yeah. Am I supposed to have 2 sep? Oh, it's times 2, so it's just like doubling. So I can.
Okay, so
Should I
wait,
spend a
hold on a minute.
congregation point yet?
So this is where you get into sort of like basically a character build. Your congregation points, I think, are based on your population,
Yeah.
which grows pretty slowly. So you have to make a decision on how you want to spend those. But you can also put artifacts in those slots. So if you click on, you know how you like clicked on the limestone in the bottom part of that menu?
Yeah. So I could.
You could see if there's any artifacts you can put in this farming node.
And it needs to be. Does it automatically like filter out the ones that
So
aren't?
be careful. So you have to be careful. So it tells you, it only shows you what you can put in this node, but once you put it in there, if you try to take it out and replace it, you have to destroy it, I think.
Production. And some of these have like negatives too.
Yeah.
Extra
And then
resources and treasures minus 2%. That's not what I need. Uncommon Hasteel.
so I think for like early on farming nodes, you want to look for artifacts that increase your production. And I would advise saving some of your congregation points. Like I would spend maybe some of them right now on production nodes, like farming and mining, but also saving some for a forgery later because the forge master, you can make a forge later. I think that's your next step. And that you want to have some extra spaces for with your congregation points, I think.
8% production cycle speed seems reasonable. And okay, what was I don't need sand. Limestone and clay.
Do any of those artifacts help your production, or?
Oh yeah, clay production output. There, we'll just throw those there for now.
Yeah, there you go. That should work.
Oh, should I just get rid of this storage?
I don't think it's doing you any good for now. It's eating up your materials too, huh?
Yeah, we'll just
I
ditch it.
would say get rid of it, yeah.
And so that should
I'm
make the
really not sure what those do.
so like this should start. Yeah, there Forge works. So what can I build here? I think about everything else I could build required like additional stuff like extraction platform, Forge works, power plant, furnace. Yeah, I could build storage, but military, which I'm not going to. Probably need housing at some point, which requires power plant. Power plant requires extraction. Oh yeah, that's what I was doing. Was this could be completely flawed, but I was working on Forge Works to get to extraction platform to get to power plant to get to housing.
Yeah, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, it seems because I'm going to hit a population maximum pretty soon. Well, not pretty soon, but soon enough. Do and find some more. And then once these are filled, I like develop somewhere else and have to have a district plan.
So, once you start to fill those up, you need to go into your divine command menu and you have to use right next to gather by hand is a district plan. So you have to use concrete and basic materials to create a district plan, and that opens up 3 other nodes that you can use.
Got it.
My guess is that the next 2 to your right after district plan allow you to set up a new city, and I'm hoping that you can set up different like mining loops or different production loops on those. I'm not sure yet though.
So are there any new players that are stumbling into this game really, or is it all like a hardcore set of people that are established from what you've seen?
Um, Mostly I just see like 2 or 3 people online, and most people don't answer my questions. But last night there was like 10 people online, and people were answering my questions. So, but none of them seem like new players.
Yeah, Fungi, the like really simple like cell division strategy game. I did a review on it. I have some videos. It closed down back in October on the 1st. Yeah, that game, towards the end, it was only like long term players that played like a ton of hours that were established. So if you'd enter a match and the matches didn't like reset, they're just ongoing, you'd have somebody with like 10 million cell volume points or whatever. So if you got plopped in a match in the wrong area, you're just going to lose automatically because you had no recourse. At least with a game like this, it's spread out a bit more, and there's enough stuff going on like on the planet and whatnot to keep people busy, where you're not just going to get forced out right away. Actually seems like you could have like 1,000 people on this and you probably wouldn't get forced out or have any issues. If I remember right. Oh yeah, S. This planet is like one of many in like a huge, huge area, right?
Yeah, honestly, the way that they construct the star system and the way that you kind of pick and choose, that's like a really fascinating, like mind-blowing thing. It seems to really expand the whole game world.
Wonder how they store all this data in such a way where it's not tanking the server. My guess is probably all of this is stored in a database, but only stuff that's active is actually being processed at any given time. So even as I fly through this is just like something. These are just graphics that don't really mean a whole lot. Like this is already like processed.
Do you think it could be like an instance system, like where every time you like approach a star, you actually like enter an instance?
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant in like a really weird way. Yeah, it did slow down quite a bit going in there, and then asteroid belt. Can find another planet. It doesn't even show any planets in here unless I'm just not looking the right way. Oh, ForgeWorks is done, which gives me the option of extraction platform, but girders and plating I need. Girders. Girders. Coal or. So it needs coal and iron. Oh, wait, that needs a lot of stuff. So I'm going to need coal and ore from the mine.
Holy cow. I logged off last night and my population was only like 4,000. It's 8,000 now.
Yeah, mine was like 200. Now it's 2,000. I would have thought that with no food production or anything in place, my population should have died. That's fine. Okay, so I need workshop. What can I make at the workshop? Can I make girders here? I probably need, I see. Forge works. Need iron. Is that what I needed? Wish I could like keep these menus up. Yeah, I did need iron. For steel, need iron and coal. Iron, copper. Shouldn't steel be on here? There we go, steel. So how do I make girders and plating? Coal and ore. Did I not set it up to? So what do I need to make these girders and plating? Seem like it'd be done at a workshop. Maybe at the farm.
Forge.
Forge? For girders and plating as well?
I think so.
Oops, I double clicked and didn't mean to, but oh well. Plating. At least the icons look like they make sense. So I'm gonna have to swap this out once I have enough. Wait, I gotta go all the way back to the mine because I am not producing the right things at all. All right, now am I producing the right stuff? Charcoal. Oh, I see. It takes a while to update. So it needs a while to make ore and iron before it makes steel, before it makes plating. Hold on 1 minute. All right, I am back. How long have I been on here? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm about to build a temple. That one has been really hard to get to.
As far as like making sure reviews go up on the site, I have enough games that are like ready for a review where I actually have like a written out review. It just needs translated in some form to video. Where we can take like a month or two on a lot of these games. It's not really a big rush.
Yeah, this game I feel like is a game like some games will probably take more time to review. Like this feels like a game that has something to it that I feel like merits more time spending on it.
Yeah, I was
Maybe.
thinking next week. I want us to try to do 2 a week. We can knock out Pong Arena. I'll have a script. You can throw in some feedback. Demonstrate a match. That won't take long at all. And then I'll just throw one of the games I promised a long time ago up on my own.
Oh, I didn't know we were doing Pong Arena. I
It's
love
on
that
the
one.
list of games that are. I have enough videos where it's ready to review by at least there's not really anything else to explore with it really.
Cheddar Goblin Cheddar Goblin wanted to review Soviet Jump Game with us. He's like really in love with that game.
Yeah, as many people as we can get involved, so then I can. Ideally, I'd like to get to the point where I can start working on more serious projects, like actually trying to work on development type stuff to help revive some of these games, like Azeron's Call 2, for example, and work on trying to coordinate people to get development teams together. I'd like to move into that role, and then kind of the rest of the stuff, like gathering list of games and whatnot. I have enough people in place to just kind of handle that for me. Like still deal with like archiving the games and throwing them on storage devices and whatnot, but it's definitely if I want to actually work on like development and writing projects. Like, there's no way I can like review the games and post gameplay footage of everything. There's just not enough time in a week. Even if I were to like give up my job and this were to be a full-time job, it's still there's just not enough time. I was going to teach Megan how to like deal with the YouTube side of things. So she, as far as any videos I need to upload, she can just upload them for me. I'm sure I could teach her how to like manage the books. There isn't really anything coming in, and what comes in isn't even tied to this project. It's tied to my books and royalties for other creative works I've done that are under the same business entity. Problem is, a lot of people have shitty internet connections still. I didn't realize how bad the internet was worldwide, or even in the US.
Yeah, it's fucking tragic.
I've been spoiled by business class Comcast for too long, I guess. I use a mobile I use a mobile hotspot as a backup, and I guess I don't really do any uploading on that. I have played games on it and it works well enough. But that's still like within a city. Just imagine being like some town in the middle of who knows where in South America, what kind of mess the internet is. There's that one guy in the group that he said, I don't know how, a couple times he mentioned his internet was out and he's on like a phone or something. I don't know if that's common in a lot of countries or what.
Oh, I bet it's really common. It's probably especially why like mobile games are becoming more popular.
A lot of the revenue, I guess that's the revenue from mobile games, though, not necessarily the player base. But the bulk of the, I guess Asia, yeah, that there is a. I'd have to see what the breakdown is as far as country by country. Because I know it's a lot of the Korean publishers. The reason it takes so long for a lot of Korean MMOs to even make it to the US is because it's they don't make any money really. They make the bulk of their money off of mobile games, which is why you're more likely to see like Lineage Mobile come out than actually have Lineage 1 playable in the US. Actually, I don't think Lineage 1's been playable in the US for over a decade now, unless you count the private server. It's kind of sad because it's actually kind of a fun game. You still play Lineage 2 though, which I guess I haven't played enough of that game to have that much of an opinion, but what I have it's click to move 3D, and it's a lot of like it's open world full of empty space with just like mobs scattered where you get to grind them over and over to level up. It's one of those types of games.
Wait, so Lineage is an MMO?
Yeah, Lineage. There's Lineage, and then there's Lineage 2. Lineage is from like 1997, 1998, late 90s. It's your 2D, kind of looks like Ultima Online, but it's a bit more action oriented and less like script. A lot of Ultima Online is like handled through like macros and whatnot. It's a bit slightly more action oriented, but it's the same general style of game. It's also a bit more PvP oriented. Lineage 2 came out when they were doing like a bunch of MMO sequels in like the early to mid, like around the World of Warcraft time, 2004 ish. They came out with Lineage 2, which was like the 3D version of it, which it plays, it handles worse than a lot of. If you compare it to like even Azeron's Call or EverQuest, it just feels. Maybe it's because it's click to move, and I don't like click to move in a 3D setting, especially not that kind of 3D setting.
Yeah, it's no fun.
It'd be like if Azeron, if you stripped away the lore and fluid movement of Azeron's Call, as well as most of the interesting parts of the environment and 90% of the mobs, and left what was remaining and made it click to move with
That's one
less
thing.
interesting races.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't really like about this game is like I feel like if you're playing a god, there could be so much fun with the lore, but there seems to be like no lore engagement in this game.
And being a writer and being a game designer and being a programmer, a developer, those are, and being an artist, and all those are such different skill sets. It might actually, if this is like a one man project, then it might be better that that person not do lore writing. So it's better to just have it omitted than to have something that's just awful put in there as
Oh
like
yeah, that's a good
placeholder.
point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because how many games actually pull off lore and story in such a way where it's interesting and not intrusive?
Touche.
And probably 90% of games that add lore and story, it's just more screens to press next on or escape or whatever the exit key is.
I gotta go AFK a second. I'll be right back.
All right. So apparently you can make ship components. Yeah, this really is like the attractor. As far as the basic gameplay loop goes. Except with the trading component seemingly not present. Latest dev diary. When is it from? Upcoming changes, something go live in. Defeat NPC raids now always leave behind lootable debris. No longer expire. Some low tier planetary bonuses. Yeah, this is going to take a while to. Let's go ahead and switch over. What do I have on my list of games? Uh, there we go. I'm going to take Runes of Magic off this list. Okay. Do I have Okay, I have the girders, so we will go over to Forge Works. As usual, I'll click in the wrong area. Plating. My workshop doing anything useful? Concrete basic materials. Superconductor. Microchip tools. What am I going to need later on? Let's see. Once I get the extraction platform to make a power, what's next? A power plant. Just needs concrete and basic materials. That's easy enough. For housing, I need glass, plastics, and steel. Which means I'm going to need sand. I need for plastics.
Oh man, once you get into the advanced manufacturing, holy shit, does it take a lot of time.
Yeah, that's what I was saying while you're AFK. This is the same gameplay loop as a tractor, except you're just doing it all on your own instead of trading between people. Because in a tractor, you'd have to have like the base materials. You have to trade those, and every place need to have the right amount of stuff for it to in order to produce the next set of things, which needed the right amount of stuff to produce the next set of things. And each person could have like a maximum of 4 industries that they were trained in, which it ended up that alts were allowed because it was impossible to progress in the game anymore when there's only like 5 people playing it. So there's
Have you
that in Istria. What I don't know if it's a man or a woman or what, but yeah, they were they had a few alts, and other people had a few alts just to keep the game going because so many industries were required to do like space travel. And right when we got to that point again, almost to that point, the server crashed and all the data was lost. And the game hasn't been online since.
in the tractor game, can you gather resources while you're offline?
Yeah, your farms or whatever, yeah, they produce resources while you're offline. So I got like a chicken farm, and I'd get so many eggs. But if your storage like filled up, you wouldn't produce anymore. If you ran out of resources you required to produce, you wouldn't produce anymore. So like, let's say you were producing tractors. For a tractor, you need like engines and this and that and all this stuff, which required this and that, which required this and that, which went all the way back to like mining and gathering basic components. So yeah, it's the same like gameplay loop. Like when you go to ship components, you're like 6 different like loops into a chain of things to make those ship components. But as you like back through it, like, it's very overwhelming if you look at this like saying, "Oh, I want to make ship components." But if you actually have a plan of what you want to do, you can actually like structure this and plan this in such a way where it's not overwhelming. You just have to know that, oh, I need this and this, and I need to build up this stuff first, and then I can build up this stuff, and like
Well,
a
yeah,
bunch of tiers.
also within that is like what you don't see in this menu is that you have to build the other structures, which means you have to build an exponentially larger amount of concrete and planks and materials to just build the structures to get the resources to build up to the ship components.
Yeah, that's it's the same as a tractor. Like just to like lay the foundation for a the most advanced buildings required like girders and all this stuff, and it was ridiculous amount of stuff it required. It was like weeks of production and coordination. Except on here, it looks like instead of having like a bunch of people you're coordinating with and getting to drive a tractor around, it's just ditching the whole tractor element and trading element, and you're on your own trying to coordinate it. Like, so you're like moving all the pieces around instead of a community using the economy as the mechanism for moving the pieces, if that makes sense. But once you like strip away like
Yeah.
who's
Hmm.
which mechanism is controlling all that, the gameplay loop underneath that's pretty much identical, even down to like what your ultimate goal is, which is space travel. So yeah, I'm assuming if I have farm, are there different animals or? Yeah, I had a chicken farm. I undercut the price of somebody next to me, and then somebody else like undercut the price of mine. It kind of made me sad. But then they got rid of their chicken farm. I don't think they even intended to. But yeah, once I got that game mastered, well, I shouldn't say mastered, but once I got a good hang of it to where I had a good flow going, went offline. I was to the point where I actually had my own like biplane I could fly around the map. I had a set loop of everything that I did to help like contribute to all the industries, as well as a plan to like I had enough buildings and everything where I was participating in like basic manufacturing for everything in such a way that like fit in with the economy well. Hopefully the same thing doesn't happen with this game or invest a ton of time into it and get a video out like showing it off and then it goes offline, but I guess that is kind of the purpose of what we're doing is to kind of
Yeah,
salvage these games.
I
So
was gonna say, isn't that like, I mean,
it's still sad to see them go, though. Ideally, you'd like to salvage the game by getting people to play it and not allow it to go offline. But
yeah, I don't think there's much salvaging going on these days. I think most games, like when they come out, people know eventually it's gonna end. But I mean, every game ends eventually. Like, I don't know. I think it's kind of a cool format to work in. It's like a short story format. Like if you go into it knowing that, um,
it's
the
one thing with it ending, but I can still play Doom One multiplayer. I can still play Legend of the Red Dragon, and that came out in 1989. And even 20 years from now, assuming I have the right hardware, still I can still play that. I can't play Gods and Idols if this thing goes offline. That's where the issue is you have service games that aren't leaving people with sufficient resources to even salvage something that they might have been like a financial contributor to, or even if they weren't a financial contributor or to, they at least like gave their time into the game to help boost the community to help the game progress. There's a conflict between cultural preservation and economic necessity. And I'm just kind of trying to address the cultural preservation side. with a full understanding that yeah, you're not going to salvage all these games, but at least if I have footage of the game, at least there's record that this existed. So if, let's say somebody wants to study like, oh, what were games like in the what were indie games like in the 2000 in 2020? Like what did like game developers do back then? At least there's footage of like footage as well as client side data and whatever else I gather they can serve as a resource.
Yeah,
Or if somebody
whenever.
decided, oh, I'm going to recreate gods and idols, I can give them a few different versions of the client side data from Steam, and they can reverse engineer that and try to build that. And there's also video footage to see what the end result should resemble. But the problem is there's so many games that it's just. Luckily, there's other people that are trying to like work on the same issue. There's a YouTube channel called Ross's Game Dungeon, and the guy addresses the issue quite a bit, and he has a lot more followers than we do by quite a bit. He has like I think he's up to like a 500,000 followers or 250,000. But he does like a regular series of issues with like service games getting released or shutting down or.
What's the channel called?
Um, actually, what's I know the video series he has is called Ross's Game Dungeon. He does some other stuff. Accursed Farms, I believe, is the actual channel name. I'll pull up a. And I don't know why this game defaults to my like old like square monitor instead of like the widescreen monitor. I have a 22-inch widescreen monitor display. Every other game defaults to that resolution. Not gods and idols.
Oh yeah. Oh, one thing that's interesting about this game is that you can craft the idols you find in.
You just cut out. Hopefully I didn't just drop internet connection again. Are you there? Hey, you there? Okay, am I to the point? Do not import or export ship. Oh, you can. Do not oh, you can import and export. I guess there is a economic component. There we go. We got our plating, which gives us our extraction platform, which allows me to build a power plant. So I need to go back to concrete and basic materials. Limestone. Clay. Oh, there, the workshop's back up. All right, did I lose you? Did I lose you? It looks like I did lose you. What time? Ah, shit. Well, we got this started, so I'm gonna go ahead and log off here. Yeah, this one's gonna take a while, so in the meantime, we're gonna. Are you there?
Yeah. Cowboy go.
Oh, what happened? Did your phone like lose connection, or
Yeah.
did you get the YouTube link I sent you?
I think so.
Wait, is that an icon of what's his name from that? What is that name of that game? That's the most vague description of anything. I always forget the name of that game, but I think that's Yeet. Let's look that up. Oh, it's in. Are you still watching the stream of me? Or are you off that?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello? What was the name of that game? Boppin'. That's what it was. Not, that is not what I need. Is it boppin'?
Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you about crafting artifacts.
Are you? Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So crafting
So
artifacts. Space
in the
elevator. I don't have that.
in the upper left
I'm
where
not good
it
with
says
left and
artifacts.
right. If you notice, if you tell me left or right, I will. It's 50-50 which direction I'll go. I
Yeah,
just
because
never
the
learned
mirrors.
left and right properly.
Well, the stream probably mirrors it too sometimes. But you can add and remove modifiers from artifacts. So if you have an artifact that has a bad modifier, or I imagine that there's probably tables for these artifacts that have a set number of
Well, that's what people were talking
modifiers.
about, like reforging, and they're complaining about
Yeah,
reforging.
yeah. So that's also the crystal resources you get from when you go look at the treasures and the stars.
Salvage this, retrieve its shards. +5 to all planetary stats. You know what? It's one of these like.
I just found an artifact called Creator Hunger. It says 394% chance to find higher tier artifact in treasures.
I'm going to just. I'm going to do this reforge lottery. +18 defense against bombardment, but -5 to all planetary stats. That doesn't sound good, really.
I think at our level, we probably should just save most of our resources and
Yeah,
gamble
I just
on
wanted to
some
like
other.
do it once to demonstrate it.
Yeah, I did it a bunch, and you get a lot of bad modifiers.
Yeah, I saw people complaining in chat about reforging. Not tonight, but the night there is 10 people.
Yeah. Um, have you ever played Path of Exile?
Yeah.
It reminds me of crafting in that. And it's like a really high probability of wasting resources, but it is a lot of fun and really tempting to do.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've played that. I think that might have been what I think that doesn't it become like a huge gear grind after a while?
Yeah, well, it depends on the type of character you build.
I'm I think I had a warrior type.
Yeah, warriors are usually pretty easy to gear. You don't need a lot of resources to do it. You can just smash through stuff with a big HP uh, pool.
I don't know if it's I just get bored easily or I just have access to so many games, but as soon as a game starts to get grindy in a way that's not interesting, I just switch to something else.
Do you
So
think it's like burnout from just playing too many games?
it's kind of always been that way.
I mean, for some people, the whole interesting part of the game is the grind, which I've always thought is weird, but you know,
I'm
to
there
each
for
their
like
own.
once I get to like end game in a game or to a point where I'm like I've done what I want to do, that's time for me to move on to something else. Like, there's no I've never really Azeron's Call I think is the only game where I've been in a guild where I've had actually yeah, that's the only game I've that and Quake 2 are the only two games where I've ran like a guild or been like in a leadership position where I've had to like stick around in the game at a point that would be considered like end game. Quake 2 didn't really have end game, but I guess there is still like you keep playing until you progress into like semi competitive and competitive realms. Like any other game, I get to like level cap, and the stuff after that's usually just stuff that doesn't matter. Like the whole fun of World of Warcraft for me is exploring the new areas and learning about the lore and like doing the open world PvP and interacting with people on that rise. But once you get to like level cap, at least in WoW Classic, I can't speak for modern WoW. Like once you get to that, like the rest of that's like of no interest. All right, I get best in slot gear. I run raids with people I don't really care about, and then I make a new character, and it just there's nothing there that's interesting.
Yeah, it's all what's there's a word for that, like some type of ground.
I don't even really stick to the same type of work for a long period of time, which probably isn't in my financial best interest, but that's all right. Okay, power plants on its. So if I go offline, this stuff will keep like going, but the food will decay.
Yeah, so I think basically you just build up food while you're online, and then before you log off, you set your production cycles that you want to have for the next day.
Yeah, I have the farm just doing like fish and vegetables at the
I
moment.
I don't I think if you log off, you want to have the farm doing like planks for your basic materials because I think it I don't think food production works when you're offline.
Oh wait, yeah, I need planks for basic materials.
Yeah,
just had enough basic materials built up that I wasn't didn't realize that that hasn't moved.
you always want to have more basic materials, it seems like, because that's how you build more stuff.
Okay, let's get rid of like
And I don't think food production works when you're offline anyway, so you might as well be building planks and see if that works. I haven't tried it yet.
here. We'll just do double planks. Yeah, I was wondering why. And then in isn't there something I need to do in workshop as well? Concrete and basic materials. Yep. Yeah, I forgot all about needing planks for basic materials. It's kind of an odd way to separate that out. Why not just have like planks be like the girders are separated out and concrete's separated out. Why not just have like wood as like a separate thing? I guess then you'd have
I
like forestry and logging, which isn't here. So I guess if you're going to omit forestry and logging, or is that a thing? Yeah, it
no.
looks like forestry and logging is like not one of the things on here. So I guess it does make sense to handle it this way. Yeah, I see that there's an option for like importing and exporting as well. So I'm guessing there is like a trading component. I don't know if that's between your own area or if that's like to some sort of marketplace or
Wait, where you see that?
oh, if you go to Planet Stockpile, click a goods, click a goods to set import export. Should that be click a good?
Oh, I didn't notice that yet. Nice. Oh wait, maybe that's to switch it to another planet
Export
that you
charcoal.
own, or can you
Oh, one
just
of their
sell it to
plans set to
someone?
import charcoal. Oh yeah, this is for when you have like multiple planets. Yeah, so that's your mechanism right there that you're talking about.
There we go. Yeah.
But I'm
So I guess
guessing
if you have,
you probably need like space travel to get to the other planets. At least that makes sense. It wouldn't make sense to have like trading without like space exploration. You'd have to have like the whole like aeronautical side of things set up. Which at that point would seem like you'd have like a lot of this planet like already like colonized. And I didn't pick an optimal continent, that's for sure. I have no idea why I picked this place to like start industries when there's this whole other one. Like two huge continents, three huge continents over here.
I think you can start other cities too and transfer between the same planet.
Yeah. I could have like used this like huge like half the I guess it's a good quarter of the planet continent. Instead, I chose like this like size of Europe continent that's an island next to a pole. I don't know if
You
that'll
picked
matter that
London,
much.
mate. You picked London, mate.
And there's the barrier for the flat planet where you can't pass at the Arctic region. What's supposed to be there on the like flat Earth theory? That's just like a big giant wall of ice or something.
Yeah, it's actually, it kind of fits with the whole construction of the Earth.
Yeah, yeah. If you like took the Earth and like took the top layer off and cut it into like a big square. No, that wouldn't quite be right.
He's like peel it like an orange.
Yeah, but that doesn't work because then you'd end up having you'd circle around still where you just fall off one end. And you obviously don't fall off. You can like keep traveling around. Like what is the explanation for being able to do that? That is a that's a something I need to look up. What's the explanation for like why you wouldn't fall off the edge?
I think it's gravity. Wait, what are we
But
talking about?
there is an end point though. It's not infinite. So you should if you're dealing with something that's flat, you should reach that end point. You wouldn't just keep going around. What keeps it infinite is the fact it's spherical.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you're supposed to be, if you travel in any direction, when you get to the edge, it's supposed to be the Arctic, like wall that keeps you from going any further.
Oh yeah, and don't forget about the sea monsters.
And maybe that's what it is. The sea monsters like nudge your craft in ways that you don't notice, but it's a series of tiny nudges that keeps you going in a big circle, even though you think you're going straight. I think there is an explanation that involves like a different configuration of the magnetic poles. Not very up to date on my knowledge of flat Earth theory, unfortunately.
It's a really important new theory, dude. You should really do your research.
I've always had an interest in like fringe thinking and concepts, so
Yeah,
like,
me too.
even if they're not like, even if it's likely like a bunch of garbage, you usually meet some interesting people on the fringes, and usually that's even if their belief system, like if the overarching thing of it is like not is more than likely not true. There's usually some basis there that will bring into question certain aspects of like something brought them to that point. Like maybe it's just a fundamental distrust of authority and then lumping in like scientists with that authority, and this is the fringe theory that is kind of the anti-authoritarian science of sorts, to oversimplify it quite a bit. And my population's going in the wrong direction. Perhaps I'm not producing food.
My favorite thing is when you find people who think they're normal, but they're actually on the fringe. That's really fun.
Oh, I don't. I'm trying to make food in the workshop. Why can't I have? I'm supposed to be a god here. Why can't I just have like a colony of sentient termites, and I just feed them the extra planks?
Yeah, that sounds like a good.
Is there like
There should be.
a suggest? What can I suggest?
You should suggest an artifact for that.
Immediate roadmap. I wonder how long this has been the immediate roadmap. Actually, I could probably look that up. Yeah, it was patch notes. So let's see, patch notes, dates. Conveniently don't have dates. I'll look that up a different time. I got power plants. Housing requires. That's going to be another tier up for housing. Because I'm going to have to. Concrete and basic materials, plastics and glass, and steel. I'll deal with that tomorrow.
I'm about to start making advanced alloy.
Yeah, you're like a couple steps ahead of me. I'll get off here. Hey, they took the time to write something clever for the exit comment. Shall your worshippers be forsaken of your masterful presence for the moment? Beware they still face the perils of space and your rivals even if you repose. May suffer terribly without your guidance. Yes. And if that would be the style of the writing for the entire lore of the game, nobody would read it. So it's probably best that it's not there.